They say real men don't talk. I say they just haven't been asked the right questions. This ain't about trends. It's about truth, about faith that don't fold, love that costs something, and manhood that still means something. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to build. This is the Always Up Podcast, Season 2, Too Real to Win. For the men still trying to love right in a world that loves wrong. She's not loud. She's curated. Perfect lighting, perfect angles, perfectly controlled emotions. Calendar full, phone charged, standards high, peace posted, chaos hidden. She calls it independence. He calls it distance. Not because she's wrong, because she's tired. Tired of carrying strength like it's a personality. Tired of being admired but not understood. Tired of being wanted but not held. So she built a life that doesn't need anyone and quietly wonders why no one stays. Strong women don't scare real men. Emotional walls do. She's not hard to love. She's hard to reach. And nobody admits that part out loud. So compliments replace connection. Attention replaces intimacy. And your amazing becomes emotional fast food. Filling, but never nourishing. She's surrounded, but untouched. Visible, but unseen. Independent, but inward. And the loneliest part, she did everything right. Career intact, image intact, boundaries intact, heart on airplane mode. She's not broken in pieces. She's broken in silence. And silence ages people faster than time. Perfection is impressive, but it's a terrible place to live. The performance of strength. She didn't wake up wanting distance. She adapted to unreliable love, to inconsistent effort, to men who talked big but showed small. So she learned control. Control her schedule, control her space, control her heart, because control feels safer than disappointment. And the world applauded it. Independent, unbothered, doesn't need anyone. Clap, clap, clap. But applause is loud, loneliness is quiet, so nobody hears it. Strength became branding. Softness became risk. Vulnerability became poor strategy. So she optimized, better job, better circle, better boundaries, less access, less patience, less room for messiness, because messiness looks weak online, and online became real life. She didn't become hard to love. She became hard to interrupt. Men see confidence. She feels pressure. Men see standards. She feels exhaustion. Men see mystery. She feels invisibility. So conversations turn into interviews. Dates turn into evaluations. Connection turns into compatibility tests. Nobody relaxes. Nobody exhales. Everyone performs. And performance can attract attention, but it can't hold love. So she keeps winning publicly and losing quietly. Not because she's difficult, because survival became her personality, and survival doesn't know how to rest in someone. Control is efficient. Connection is unpredictable. Efficiency wins in business, but love was never a business model. So the skills that built her life slowly built her distance. Boundaries became barriers. Standards became screens. Protection became isolation. Not on purpose, just slowly, reasonably, logically, because pain trains people to optimize. Optimize risk, optimize time, optimize exposure. But intimacy doesn't live in optimization. It lives in allowance, in awkward pauses, in unscripted moments. You can't spreadsheet chemistry. You can't calendar vulnerability. And circling back doesn't work on feelings. And you can't filter your way into feeling safe. So she mastered self-sufficiency, bills paid, goals hit, peace maintained, a whole life built perfectly with no guest room for love. But partnership requires something different. Not perfection. Presence, not independence. Interdependence, not control. Trust. And trust feels dangerous when strength has been your armor. So the very traits that made her admirable made her unreachable. Control protects the heart. Connection exposes it. And most people choose protection because protection feels powerful. But power without softness feels like standing guard at an empty door. She gets home late, not exhausted from work, exhausted from holding it together. Shoes off, silence on. The room is neat, the air is still, the phone lights up. Messages, compliments, invites. She scrolls past all of it because attention is easy. Being known is not. So she makes tea, opens a laptop, lets a show play in the background, not to watch, just to avoid the quiet, because quiet asks questions. Questions like, who do I exhale around? Who sees me without the armor? Who stays when I stop performing? She's dated, she's tried, she's entertained potential, but every connection felt conditional. Too much explaining, too much impressing, too much managing perception. So she started choosing peace. At least that's what she calls it. But peace without warmth feels like emotional winter. Nothing loud, nothing broken, just cold. And cold doesn't hurt dramatically. It numbs. So days pass, winds stack, photos post, and nobody notices how heavy strength feels when you carry it alone. She isn't asking for rescue. She didn't want a savior, just somebody she didn't have to be strong around. She just doesn't want to be impressive anymore. She wants to be understood. Being admired is loud, being understood is quiet. Strength isn't the problem. Survival strength is the kind that never sits down, never softens, never lets anyone see the weight. That strength builds careers, protects boundaries, wins rooms. But love doesn't walk into rooms. It walks into people. Then people need space to be human, not impressive, not polished, not permanently composed. Human, messy laugh, wrong words, unfiltered moments, the kind you can't schedule and don't want to perform. You can't be fully loved while permanently on stage. So the reset isn't becoming less powerful. It's becoming reachable. Letting conversations breathe, letting silence feel safe, letting someone see the unfinished parts. Because intimacy doesn't grow in highlight reels. It grows in ordinary minutes that nobody posts. Real closeness rarely photographs well. And vulnerability isn't weakness. It's access. Access to the real you. Access to shared weight. Access to warmth that doesn't require effort. Control says, I've got it. Connection says, we've got it. One builds independence, the other builds belonging. And belonging is what the strong quietly miss most. Armor has a history. Nobody wakes up guarded. Guarding is learned. Learned when effort wasn't matched. When loyalty felt one-sided. When I got you quietly meant I'm alone. So strength stepped in. Strength that handled it. Handled bills, handled pressure, handled disappointment without witnesses. Because needing someone and not being met teaches a dangerous lesson. Dependence hurts. So independence became protection, not rebellion, not ego, protection. Protection from repeating pain, from explaining yourself twice, from hoping out loud, and the world clapped for it. Strong, focused, unshakable. But nobody asked strong people what it costs to stay that way. Carrying everything alone doesn't prove you're capable. Sometimes it proves you stop believing someone would help. And that's not empowerment. That's exhaustion dressed well. So this isn't about dropping your standards. It's about dropping the armor when it's safe, letting someone see the unedited version, letting care feel mutual, letting support feel earned, not owed. You don't have to shrink your strength. Just let it rest sometimes, because wanting partnership isn't weakness, it's human. And humans weren't designed to carry life solo. Men, strength doesn't need to be challenged. It needs to feel safe. You don't lower walls with pressure. You lower them with steadiness, consistency, calm, follow through when nobody's watching. Not louder words, quieter reliability. Because when someone has learned to carry life alone, what gets noticed isn't charm. It's who shows up, who doesn't switch up, who means the same thing tomorrow. Not who talks the best, but who keeps it real. Not who impresses the room, who protects the moment. Flash fades, patterns stay. So leadership here isn't dominance, it's emotional gravity. Being solid enough that someone else can finally set their weight down. Strong isn't loud, it's load bearing. That's strength. And most men were never taught that version. They were taught performance, provision, posture, but not how to be trusted slowly, not how to sit in silence without feeling it, not how to make calm feel normal. Anybody can make an entrance. Few people know how to make a space feel safe. And that gap doesn't start in dating. It starts earlier, before relationships, before confidence, before identity feels settled. It starts in the places where boys learned what love feels like, or didn't. That's where we're going next. Thanks for listening. Too Real to Win is for the men still trying to love right in a world that loves wrong. No clout, no gimmicks, just truth. I'm Brian B. Turner, and this is the Always Up Podcast. Until next time, stay focused, stay faithful, and always up.